Have you ever wondered why fantasy worlds feel strangely familiar spiritually? Why do imagined lands echo beliefs older than any written memory? Why do mystical gods resemble fears tucked deep within our bones? Something inside us responds instantly to sacred symbols and stories. That reaction isn't accidental because fantasy mirrors humanity's oldest questions openly. Religion in fantasy worlds often reveals truths we rarely discuss aloud. We're drawn to divine mysteries because they reflect our inner uncertainties. Every fictional faith whispers something about our ancient longing for meaning. Every sacred prophecy hints at our desire to understand destiny itself. These stories make us feel seen, even when completely imaginary realms unfold. They tap into instincts buried so deeply we barely recognize them. Religion inside fantasy doesn't feel foreign because belief is universal. Even non-believers sense its emotional weight when worlds honor forgotten gods. Our minds lean towards myth whenever reality feels too sharp and cold. And fantasy invites us to explore belief without real-world consequences. It gives us space to question everything safely behind enchanted walls. Religion becomes the perfect tool for stirring deep emotional curiosity. Suddenly, readers feel connected to worlds they've never actually visited. They sense ancient truths hidden inside every temple, prayer, and prophecy. A single divine sign can shift an entire character's destiny instantly. A mysterious ritual can unlock secrets that shape the entire plot. Faith becomes a dramatic force woven tightly into the narrative. It influences characters' choices more powerfully than swords or spells. These sacred systems create tension because belief always guides conflict. People fight hardest for things they cannot physically hold. And fantasy religions turn invisible convictions into explosive story energy. They build cultures readers feel compelled to understand deeply. Suddenly, fictional beliefs feel strangely possible, even oddly believable. Because faith touches emotions logic can't easily reach or explain. Fantasy worlds use religion to awaken those hidden emotional responses. They remind us how deeply belief shapes identity across every society. They show how people cling to meaning when everything around collapses. Belief systems become emotional anchors during dangerous journeys. Characters seek guidance from gods when choices twist painfully, and readers instinctively understand that yearning for clarity. That connection creates unforgettable emotional immersion almost instantly. Religion becomes the heartbeat pulsing beneath the entire imaginary world. Without it, many fantasy worlds feel strangely hollow or incomplete. Divine mysteries pull readers deeper than any battle scene could. They spark curiosity about unseen forces shaping every hero's fate. They make every moment feel bigger than the characters themselves. Prophecies whisper destiny even before the characters understand anything. Sacred texts hint at long-lost truths waiting to be uncovered. Strange omens create constant suspense around every unfolding event. And ritual traditions bind societies together in believable complexity. Religion adds depth that makes worlds feel alive and ancient. Its presence shapes everything from politics to personal motivations. It colors cultures with unique practices that feel authentically human. Even invented gods reveal something deeply relatable and emotional. They symbolize desires we rarely articulate out loud. They embody fears we'd rather not face consciously. They represent hope when everything else appears bleak and impossible. Readers recognize those feelings immediately, even subconsciously. That's why spiritual elements grip audiences from the very start. Religion injects mystery, emotion, and meaning in ways nothing else can. It raises questions too powerful for readers to ignore. Why does this God demand loyalty from broken-hearted heroes? Why does this prophecy follow one character relentlessly through tragedy? Why does destiny feel uncomfortably connected to divine judgment? These questions build emotional tension stronger than any plot twist. They challenge characters to discover who they truly are inside, and audiences follow every step because the struggle feels universal. Faith becomes both a comfort and a battlefield simultaneously. That contradiction makes stories feel electrifyingly real. Fantasy uses religion to explore humanity's deepest emotional impulses. It shows how belief guides the decisions shaping entire civilizations, and those choices leave emotional marks across countless storylines. Religion becomes the silent force, influencing everything invisibly. It lurks behind kings, heroes, and ordinary wanderers alike. Stories become richer whenever divine influence touches fragile human hearts, because people reveal their true nature under spiritual pressure. Religion shapes fantasy worlds by creating cultures with their own sacred foundations. Each belief system influences how societies function in everyday life. Temples become political centers, guiding leaders through divine expectations. Priests interpret signs believed to reveal future triumphs or disasters. Entire kingdoms rise when prophecies favor their chosen rulers. Civilizations crumble when omens predict catastrophic divine punishment. These spiritual systems create tension that fuels compelling narrative momentum. Characters wrestle with religious expectations placed on their destinies. Heroes often question if gods truly guide their difficult path. Villains sometimes twist sacred teachings for personal gain and power. Religion becomes the moral battlefield, shaping every conflict profoundly. It influences how societies treat outsiders with unfamiliar beliefs. It explains why some kingdoms fall into centuries of war. People cling to faith during turmoil because it promises meaning. Fantasy uses those moments to explore challenging emotional landscapes. That exploration feels grounded because real cultures behave similarly. In many stories, religion explains why magic even exists. Divine energy often fuels spells, artifacts, and enchanted creatures. Characters trust holy relics because they embody ancient spiritual power. Prayers become spells when gods respond to sincere devotion. Miracles confirm divine presence when characters desperately need hope. All these elements give worlds deeper emotional and mythic resonance. They make magic feel purposeful instead of randomly inserted. Religion provides rules that explain supernatural forces logically. Those rules create anticipation because characters struggle within boundaries. Breaking divine laws always leads to dangerous consequences eventually. Forbidden rituals tempt characters searching for forbidden power. Sacred taboos create suspense around every risky decision. Readers feel the tension whenever characters challenge divine authority. Every spiritual choice intensifies the emotional weight on their journey. Religion impacts character development more deeply than weapons or alliances. It reflects their fears about destiny, morality, and purpose. Heroes confront their doubts when divine signs contradict expectations. Some discover strength through faith when everything seems hopeless. Others reject sacred teachings and carve their own path. Fantasy worlds use these internal conflicts to explore human nature. Real-life struggles echo inside every divine dilemma. Stories become powerful mirrors of our personal questions about meaning. Readers feel invested because the journey feels spiritually familiar. Every divine encounter pushes characters toward transformation. Religion also shapes world building through festivals and ancient traditions. These cultural rituals create believable social structures instantly. Ceremonies express gratitude to gods who shaped history. Sacred dances honor mythical creatures watching from beyond mortal sight. Offerings represent humility before divine power. These details transport readers into cultures that feel vibrantly alive. Religion also defines architecture across imagined landscapes. Massive temples dominate cities with towering symbolism. Sacred carvings reveal forgotten myths etched into stone. Holy statues immortalize legendary saints guiding future generations. These structures root fantasy worlds in emotional and historical depth. They influence everything from fashion to military strategy. Knights fight beneath banners depicting protective gods. Merchants follow superstitions to ensure safe travels. Farmers pray for rain during desperate droughts. Spiritual habits shape every layer of fantasy life meaningfully. Religion also sparks conflict between rival nations. Different belief systems clash over sacred territories and relics. Wars erupt when prophets declare divine mandates. Peace treaties crumble when omens signal betrayal. These elements enhance drama with powerful emotional weight. Readers question whether gods truly guide events or people misinterpret signs. That uncertainty fuels suspense throughout the narrative. Characters search endlessly for truth behind divine mysteries. They face spiritual tests that challenge their loyalty to ancient teachings. Some discover corruption hidden behind religious authority. Others uncover miracles offering genuine hope and guidance. Fantasy worlds use religion to blur the line between truth and belief. That blurred line keeps audiences curious about deeper motivations. Storytelling thrives when characters question everything around them. Faith becomes both a guiding light and a dangerous trap. That duality creates emotional intensity in every scene. Readers feel compelled to uncover the real meaning behind divine influence. And that emotional pull prepares them for a transformative realization. Which brings us seamlessly into the next powerful twist ahead. Here's the twist many readers never expect from religious fantasy. The gods shaping these worlds often reflect the characters themselves. Divine beings symbolize internal struggles, fears, doubts, and desires. The sacred becomes a mirror exposing characters' deepest hidden truths. Religion becomes a psychological force rather than merely a world-building element. The gods reveal parts of characters they avoid acknowledging consciously. Prophecies reflect choices characters fear making. Miracles represent inner strength they never believed existed. Divine punishment reflects guilt they carry silently for years. This twist reshapes fantasy religion as emotional storytelling, not mythology. Gods become metaphors for personal transformation processes. Every spiritual conflict becomes an inner battle disguised as divine struggle. Readers sense this connection even before recognizing it clearly. That subconscious link makes religious themes incredibly powerful emotionally. Fantasy worlds use divine presence to communicate internal character growth. Religious symbolism reveals what characters must overcome to evolve. The sacred tests strengthen them through painful emotional challenges. And the journey becomes spiritual regardless of their personal beliefs. Characters grow stronger spiritually even if they reject their gods. Their greatest battles occur within the quiet chambers of their minds. Fantasy religion simply externalizes those emotional storms dramatically. This twist shifts the entire meaning of divine influence. Faith becomes more about identity than supernatural beings. Prophecy becomes more about courage than predetermined destiny. Rituals become symbolic acts of personal transformation. Readers feel this at a deep emotional level instantly, because everyone fights internal battles hidden beneath calm surfaces. Everyone struggles with purpose during defining life moments, and fantasy religion brings those universal conflicts into vivid clarity. That insight explains why spiritual themes resonate across cultures. It's not about agreeing with the belief systems presented. It's about recognizing humanity's search for meaning everywhere. The sacred becomes a language describing our emotional evolution. Fantasy worlds simply amplify that language through magic and myth. This realization changes how we interpret every divine moment. Gods become symbols embedded inside character arcs intentionally. Spiritual revelations mark pivotal turning points for heroes and villains. Internal clarity becomes their strongest form of power. The twist reveals that fantasy's greatest miracles are emotional awakenings. And once readers realize this, the story transforms completely. They begin searching for symbolic meaning behind every divine event. They interpret sacred visions as reflections of personal truth. They view temples as representations of internal emotional landscapes. They analyze prophecies as metaphors for life's hardest decisions. Fantasy becomes a guide for understanding complex inner struggles, and religion becomes the narrative tool exposing those struggles beautifully. This twist deepens the entire experience of reading fantasy fiction. It elevates every spiritual moment beyond dramatic storytelling. It turns ordinary plot lines into profound emotional journeys. It helps readers understand themselves more honestly and courageously. That clarity becomes a reward as satisfying as any plot twist. Fantasy mirrors our desire to find meaning in chaos. Religion symbolizes the invisible forces guiding our personal growth. The twist reframes fantasy belief as emotional truth disguised poetically. And that makes these worlds unforgettable for generations. Readers walk away carrying spiritual lessons without realizing it. They apply those lessons to real-life challenges instinctively. That connection highlights the transformative power of storytelling. Fantasy religion becomes a catalyst for personal reflection. It invites readers to question their beliefs and inner fears. It encourages them to confront doubts rather than hide from them. It pushes them to explore purpose with deeper sincerity. It helps them understand their emotional wounds more compassionately. These stories become safe spaces for exploring real spiritual questions. Readers find courage through characters undergoing divine tests. They discover strength through fictional heroes walking uncertain paths. They learn growth often begins where comfort ends. That realization becomes a powerful transformative moment. And fantasy religion plants those moments intentionally. It shapes not only characters' journeys, but also readers' perspectives. It becomes a bridge between imagination and emotional truth. And that bridge stays with readers long after finishing the story. Which brings us to one final powerful takeaway. Never underestimate how deeply fantasy mirrors your own spiritual journey. And now, let that realization inspire you to explore your meaning.